And welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and today we have another unscripted video where we'll be meandering around the topic of the Center of Stillness activation. And as always, I bring notes to the mix but no script, so we're going to be meandering our way around the subject and taking the scenic route to enlightenment. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around and we'll explore this thing together. And if you enjoy this type of content in general, subscribe to the channel and the podcast, and look forward to my 3 uploads a week schedule, one of which is an unscripted video. The Monday release is a energy update video with daily affirmations for your week ahead, and on every Wednesday I release a video with a meditation track, a 60-minute meditation track that I have composed and which communicates energetic codes related to different energy healing modalities. So obviously this week's meditation will be for the Center of Stillness, and at the time of recording this video I've almost finished work on that and I'm enjoying it immensely. I've tried to keep it a little bit minimal compared to some of the other meditation tracks because it's a very calm and soothing energy, but I like to include a beat that is hypnotic. So I feel that the beat can be a little bit grounding, and that can help you to keep your mind calm while you're exploring the ethers in your mind with the meditation music. But at the same time you can also use it as background music for when you're working, reading, relaxing, sleeping. And I've had a few comments from people who have used them while they're doing their homework, so I'm glad it works that way as well. And I often like to include binaural beats in the music that help to activate different brainwave activity, specifically alpha waves. Alpha waves are the brainwaves you use for focus but also for relaxation. So if you think about how your mind opens up when you're meditating but at the same time can become very focused, that's the level of consciousness the alpha wave binaural beats are pointing you towards. It's to encourage alpha wave brainwaves while you're listening, so it may enhance the process. Today we're talking about the Center of Stillness activation, and this is one of the emissaries of the light channeled courses, and it was channeled through the goddess Kuan Yin. Other attunements in the Emissaries of the Light series include the Lotus Fountain Healing, Kuan Yin's Compassionate Heart Healing, Archangel Raphael's Healing Matrix, Archangel Gabriel's Empath Encoding. There's quite a extensive series of attunements from those channelings, and the Center of Stillness is one of the ones that can be used as part of your self-care routine, but I think it's particularly useful for anybody who experiences anxiety, especially the kind of anxiety that's liable to keep you up at night with racing thoughts, because this energy allows you to create a space within yourself so that you can process your emotions and experiences without getting too involved with them to the point that you become overwhelmed, or the point where you're triggering thought habits or like negative cycles that you've reinforced over the years, creating this space can allow you to interrupt that reaction. That's the intention of the modality, and you can work with that every single day. If you find that you are very reactive when under stress, or you find it difficult to manage your emotions throughout the day, perhaps at certain times of the month it might be a little bit more important than others, but certainly creating some space within yourself can allow you to appreciate your emotions and experiences and integrate them without them overwhelming you or becoming problematic, getting in the way of your day-to-day life. It's a simple technique to learn and does require visualization, and included in the manual, as with all of the Emissaries of the Light series, you'll find correspondences and suggested symbols and things like that that you can work with to amplify this energy. And of course, the meditation track that will be released officially on Wednesday, but it will already be on the music apps because I will be releasing it in the next couple of days at the time of recording. And I'll also be putting it out with some live streams overnight. The live streams run every single night it's from when I finish working in the office. I then set up the live stream and leave it going overnight, switch it off in the morning, and YouTube will then truncate it into a 12-hour looped version of that track for me. So there are 12-hour looped live streams with a lot of the meditation tracks. So the point of those is so that if you need background music for a study session and you wanted to listen to just one meditation, or if you wanted to have it playing in the background overnight sort of thing, you've got the longer version. But you can also use the Mayastar Meditations playlist that would cycle you through each of the meditations. They're all collected on a playlist for your convenience. And so are the articles, and so are the unscripted videos. So if at any point you want to catch up on those, check out the playlists on the main channel and you'll find lists where you can get to all the content that you prefer. I haven't actually got any questions with me for this one because I try to find questions that people have asked related to the special offer course, and I haven't got any questions for this specific course, only times where I've recommended it to people, and most of the time I recommend it for people who are going through a stressful period, like a change in job, moving home, the breakdown of a relationship, or while processing a bereavement. Those sort of circumstances where you're in a highly anxious state naturally just because of the chemicals going around your body. This can help you to restore a little bit of calm and manage the challenging emotions. And it's also recommended for those who suffer chronic pain because the same mechanism creating that inner space can help you to disconnect a little bit from your physical senses that are processing the pain and align you more with a higher state of consciousness. I prefer to think of it as inner consciousness with the center of stillness, because you're wanting to appreciate that higher consciousness being immanent. You're becoming aware that it's there all the time. It's not something you go outside of yourself to access. It's there all the time, And the center of stillness reminds you how you can tap into that. It's always there. It's just that your physical senses and your mental faculties can sometimes distract you from it. So the center of stillness activation is shifting your perception and bringing your awareness back to your spiritual center so that you can find calmness, peace, a sense of wholeness, even at times when things are completely the opposite. And that includes when you're experiencing physical pain, allowing yourself to reconnect with your spiritual source, create that space within yourself, can help you to create a bit of distance between you and that pain. It's like a delay to your response. It stops you overreacting. Like, overreacting to things can be a bit of a habit that we get into, and this would be a good way to interrupt it if you're one of those people who does tend to fly off the handle. Just creating an opportunity for yourself to temper your response, to become more mindful and considered in your approach. And that in itself can be very healing, because you're reducing the effect of stress, but also the incidences of stress. So things can settle down quite quickly if you work with this system every day. I also would say it's a very good system to work with before you go to bed, especially if you're one of those people who goes about your day without any problems but finds that anxiety comes to you at night. That's when you do your main worrying and your main thinking, and all of a sudden you're making a epic to-do list, or you're revising the shopping list, or you're on Amazon trying to sort out what you need to get for the cat, and you're doing all of this in the middle of the night. The center of stillness activation would be a good option for that, just again to interrupt that habit, to interrupt the reaction to stress. And because this is one of the attunements that was channeled through the goddess Kuan Yin, I would also recommend that if you're interested in learning more about these currents, you check out the previous articles on this channel and podcast, or on the Mayastar website at mayastar.net, where you'll find articles about the goddess Kuan Yin and the sacred symbol of the lotus that I think would be particularly useful if this energy is something that appeals to you. And also the rose quartz bath sanctuary article and the dolphin energy article, which covers inner child healing, and I feel that might be something that resonates with people drawn to this particular system. That's the main subject of this video, but I said last week that I would talk a bit more about my scarf collection this week. As you can see, I'm pretty pleased with how the giant scarf situation panned out behind me. It does seem to have fixed the lighting issue quite well. And that is a giant scarf compared to the rest of the scarves in my collection. But why do I have so many scarves? Well, I find them very versatile tool for magic. And so that's why I wanted to talk about them, because I feel that this is something that other people might want to try out. But a scarf can be used as an altar cloth. It can be used for wrapping your sacred tools such as wands, crystals, tarot cards. Small scarves make a perfect tarot wrap. And you can also wear them on your head if you've got a lot of hair like me, you can use a small scarf to tie your hair back. And some of the larger scarves you could even wear as a sort of wrap skirt around your hips. And if you're performing rituals, you can then choose the scarves with colours or prints that reflect the energy you're working with or the energy you want to bring in. So for example, I'm just going to take a recent ritual as an example, but when working with the goddess Freya, depending on what I'm working on her with, like if I was working with the goddess Freya and I wanted to bring in a sort of golden energy for a prosperity working or something like that, I would want to use a yellow scarf, yellow or gold, because it's the goddess Freya. I'd be looking for something with flowers or perhaps cats. But then at the same time, if I were doing a different type of working where I wanted to increase my creativity by tapping into her as a sort of earth mother goddess, all about the fertility, I'd probably go for something green and again perhaps floral and perhaps with cats. Or if I were doing a ritual that was centered around manifesting love, finding a soulmate, that sort of thing, I'd probably go for pink with cats and flowers. But yeah, I choose scarves based on the energy I'm working with. And I find that a lot easier than having a collection of different robes that I would wear for these different workings. I never really had a big collection of robes. I would wear white robes for certain workings and black robes for other workings. But generally speaking, if I want to represent a different current, if I want to amplify my experience of those energies by bringing in tools and symbols that mean something to me, I would use my own jewellery, perfumes and scarves to accent my ritual. And so I thought, yeah, the scarf thing, it must seem a bit odd. Why have I got scarves literally everywhere? There's scarves over there piled up over the lights. Well, yeah, I've got a sensory processing disorder. You'll find scarves piled up on nearly all of my lights, but that scarf, that's worked really well. But that's a scarf on top of a scarf that's always there. There are scarves over there, scarves over there. Like literally everywhere I look, there's scarves even there behind you on the camera. There's scarves there. And there's scarves up here in front of you on the camera. But yeah, I'm surrounded by them. I use them all of the time, and they're quite a cheap thing to buy as well. And you could probably just make your own. If you found a fabric that really spoke to you, you could easily rustle up a scarf. And yeah, and then you've got something that you can use for rituals. And at a push, I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of, but you could literally wear it as a scarf. I know it seems outlandish when they're so versatile and you can use them for absolutely anything. Well, okay, you probably can't use them for absolutely anything, but they're pretty close. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. If you felt like getting a collection of things for using in magic, rather than investing in really expensive things like oil, or like people buy special magical oils, that could be really expensive. People buy special incenses, that could be really expensive. And people buy all the ingredients to make the oils and incenses for themselves, and that can be even more expensive. And I really think like some of the best things that you can have for magic are the things you find out in nature. And in my case, obviously the scarves, but it doesn't have to be things that are expensive when you're building up your little magical toolkit. And oh, that's another thing, I'm talking about magic here as if everyone's into magic, but the same applies for energy healing. you could use scarves for colour therapy. Now, if you're interested in learning about colour correspondences that would be appropriate for learning for colour therapy, I'd recommend the Rainbow Sequence Healing Technique and the Avalonian Trilogy, because they're so detailed. And the Avalonian Trilogy, Avalonian Alignment, Star of Avalon Ascension, and Avalonian Spectral Activations, those attunements are centered around the 9 main star centers or energy centers of the body, and each one corresponds with a different color. So yes, you could, as an energy healer, have a collection of scarves that you use for different color vibrations that you want to amplify during different sessions. Also, I must admit, one of the things I like about scarves is that you always find a lot of them in second-hand shops, so you can really get some bargains, and you find some there that they're not from a mainstream shop. They're not things that other people are likely to have. So if you want to have something completely original, you might need to make your own scarves, but otherwise check out the second-hand shops, and you could find some real vintage pieces and quite a variety as well. I mean, some of my favourite scarves are from charity shops. I think that was everything I wanted to cover about scarves. If you have a favourite scarf, am I the only person who has favourite scarves? Or am I a bit weird with my scarf collection? I might be. But if I'm not, tell me about your scarf collection in the comments. If you've got a scarf that you think is special, tell me about your scarf. I'm curious. Okay, what else have we got to discuss today? Oh, this one's a little bit off topic because I'm just about to get a new parcel. I've got a new drum coming. It's coming from Sweden. It's called a sun drum, and basically it's a tunable wooden drum where you move magnets around. So it's a little bit like my tank drum, which is also tuned with magnets. So I can change the tuning by moving the magnets around inside of it. Although I actually don't really do that because it's very fiddly, and it's easier to change the key when I'm editing it than it is to change it on the actual drum. But this drum looks a little bit easier because the magnets are more accessible, but it's a wooden drum, so it sounds a little bit like a xylophone to me, and I always wanted a xylophone, but because they're absolutely huge, there's no way I would ever have a xylophone. There's no way I would have room for it. But this is going to be my alternative to having a xylophone, and it's a round drum and it's got pickups in it, so I can mic it up and pick up the sound very efficiently that way. If I want, I'll do some experiments and see how it sounds, but I thought this would be a really good addition to my collection of weird and wacky instruments, because I have got a lot, and I really enjoy the wooden sounds. That's very hard to explain, but I actually feel like when I add a wooden sounding drum, it creates almost like a ticking clock sort of vibe. But sometimes when I'm editing and mixing and just smoothing things out, the very last thing I want to do is add a few accents to the beat, and usually I use a wooden drum to do that, or the side of another drum that's wooden. So I'm looking for a wooden sound, so I thought it was about time I got a wooden drum so that I can create those sounds properly. I'm very excited. So it's on its way. It's already in the country. I've already paid the import duty. I'm just waiting for them to tell me when it will be delivered. I suspect it will be tomorrow, so it may even appear on the final version of the Center of Stillness meditation track. So listen out for that when that's released, because that might be the very first time anybody hears me play my new sun drum. Did I just say sun drum? I meant sun drum. I think it's called the sun drum because on each of the wooden tongues it has a wavy line, and then the magnet can be moved up and down the wavy line, and because the wavy lines go out in every direction, it does look like a sort of sun. And it's light coloured wood as well, so that makes it look even more like the sun. That's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get that, and it'll be a good companion for my Idiopan tank drum because that is black with glitter, which makes it look sort of like space. So I think I'll have a sun drum and then a moon drum, one that looks a day drum and a night drum, in a way, to go with all my other drums, to go with my thunder drum, my ocean drum, my lots and lots of shamanic drums, my Sami witch drum. I've got a lot of drums. And now I've just gone off on a tangent about my cool new drum. Let me check my notes and see if there's anything else that we needed to cover today. There is one more thing I wanted to cover. Now this one was for meditation that I released. Well, I created it a couple of weeks ago, and it was the first track that I used a new thunder drum on. And when I created the thunder drum track to use it on one of the mixes to create the deep dark sound, I added an intro where I used a rain stick. But when I streamed it on YouTube, it didn't sound good. It didn't sound right, because it sometimes when I'm live streaming it, because the bit rate is lower, some sounds don't translate so well on the live streams, and the deeper thunder drum sound was great, but the rain sound that I had on the intro wasn't very good. So I ended up making a second version of that track, and then I had to replace it. So if you're on Spotify and you were waiting for that release, because I know on some music apps it will have come up as a pre-release, like notifying you that this release will go live on this day, and you might have been waiting for it, the Mary Magdalene's Inner Temple Thunder Drum Mix, and it didn't go live on that day because I actually withdrew it and then released the amended version. So it went live, the amended version actually went live before the other one was going to go live. But if you had been setting up reminders and things, you may not have been notified about that release. So I thought I'd mention it because on the off chance anyone was waiting for that one, it did get released. It just didn't get released on the release date that I originally set. And the reason was I was being a perfectionist, because although the version that I was releasing sounded fine on the music app, I didn't want to have two versions of it, one for streaming and one that was officially released. I just thought, no, down the line that will cause some confusion. I'll end up with like two versions of tracks and I wouldn't be able to say which one was the authentic one. So that was all sorted out anyway. And our final subject for this video is going to be the Luring Moon Abundance Alignment 30-day Ritual Intensive, which is a 30-day ritual that I start every month on the full moon. And if you pay attention to the celestial events, you'll know that there are going to be 2 full moons in the month of August, and both of these are going to be supermoons, meaning the moon is very close to the earth, so it appears huge in the sky and exerts more of an influence on us, especially when it comes to magic and energy work. So the Luring Moon intensives for the month of August promise to be extremely potent, and so I'm recommending, if you've been holding off on purchasing the Luring Moon, the 1st of August cycle I think is going to be one of the most powerful for the whole of the year, because it's the month where there is a blue moon, and this is a supermoon followed by another supermoon, which is also a blue moon. So there will be 2 luring moon cycles starting this month. And traditionally, magical workings performed on a blue moon exert a bigger sphere of influence and create lasting changes. Just generally speaking, the blue moon amplifies the effect of the working, so that promises to be very powerful as well. And the luring moon is a general working that brings in positive influences. It works best, in my opinion, when it's used in conjunction with the killing moon cycle. The killing moon cycle works to resolve and dissolve negative karmic bonds, which are the energetic attachments that connect you with people or places, memories, experiences, anything where your energy has been invested, your attention has been invested, an energetic residue persists, even if it's in the past. If you haven't consciously let go of it, sometimes the energy remains and it draws energy away from you, usually a very subtle effect. But because in this day and age we don't tend to monitor our energetic health, those negative connections can build up over time, and then they'll be leaching energy away from you. Over a period of time, that can add up. So the killing moon cycle dissolves those attachments, it releases them, disconnects them where appropriate. It doesn't do it to karmic connections that you still need as part of your learning experience. It's only for those negative attachments, negative meaning they're drawing energy away, but not actually, it's not a two-way street with those. It's not coming back to you, it's only taking things away. Those are the connections that get resolved with the killing moon. And then the luring moon works to amplify the positive connections, to increase the flow of life force through those connections, so that you draw more of them into your life, more positive connections to replace the negative ones that are cleared through the Killing Moon Karmic Reversal 30-day ritual intensive. The Killing Moon, I start always on the dark moon. So the dates for those are always on the Maya Magical website, and you'll find the links for the Maya Magical and Mayastar websites in the comments, and if you're on the podcast, in the description. The luring moon doesn't only draw general positive energy, it can also be used for healing, bringing in more loving relationships, increasing prosperity, and increasing opportunities for happiness in your life. So it's a general working, but it can be focused on situations like starting a new business, or buying a new home, or encouraging a new relationship, and those kinds of things. So if any of that resonates with you, have a look on the Maya Magical website, read some more about it, and see if that appeals to you. Because as I say, I feel the supermoon workings for the month of August are going to be particularly powerful. And make sure that you're subscribed to the newsletter so that you receive the updates and any special offers that are exclusive to Mayastar newsletter subscribers. That was something I wanted to cover. Somebody asked if they could join my VIP list. I'm afraid the VIP list doesn't work like that. You can join the mailing list. The VIP list is for clients who have worked with me in a magical context in the past. So they're people that I already have a good energetic connection with. And then I can make other types of magical workings available for them because it's easier for me to develop that connection during the ritual. It just allows the energy to flow more easily because I'm already connected with them, and it's easier for me to offer different kinds of spells, different kinds of rituals that are a little bit longer. And it just wouldn't be viable for me to provide those to people that I haven't worked with before. So you can get onto the VIP list, but only by being a Maya Magical client. It's not open to people who haven't previously purchased. And at the moment, I think there's 50 or 60 people on the VIP list. So I do try to keep it limited because for some of those special offers that I make available to them, I can only take up to 6 people for them. So I couldn't be sending those sorts of offers out to thousands of people because I wouldn't be able to accommodate all of them. I can only take a certain number for certain types of rituals. But if you want to hear about the ones that are available to other people and ones where there will be a special offer price, join the mailing list and you'll be notified as those opportunities present. And that looks like everything that I wanted to cover for today. So, I hope it's been interesting. I hope you've had a great week, and I hope you're going to have another one. And I hope you've enjoyed our mystical meanderings for today. If you have, and you've missed any previous episodes, check out the playlist, have a look back and go through some of the older videos, and look forward to the energy update coming out on Monday and the new meditation video which will be coming out on Wednesday for the Center of Stillness. And it's been great to talk to you again, and I'll be back here again next week, and I hope you'll join me for another unscripted video then. But in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity and progress in all you do. With blessings.